Hello, and we are live. Welcome, Peter Smith. How are you today?
Very well, Nicola. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, me too. Thank you so much for being here. I've been really looking forward to this, and thank you to everyone who's tuning in as well. This is going to be a really powerful conversation, and I am sure that you're going to walk away from it with some divine hope and inspiration to carry you forth. Peter is a teacher, an author, and a consciousness researcher. He's also an Aries sun, Leo moon, and a Virgo rising. So a good dose of Virgo in there just to balance you out, Peter, with all that fire. Um, and Peter is a 6-2 emotional projector for those that know human design. No surprise there. So my intention for this gratitude series has been for me to really honor and appreciate and recognize the teachers that have greatly influenced me in this past year of my awakening. It's been full on, it's been rapid, it's been intense and challenging and fun and amazing. I wouldn't change a single moment of it. And Peter has been one of those people that I met and felt a really strong connection with immediately. And through our quantum consciousness journey, it was certainly a life-changing experience, and it opened me up to a lot. And I've been someone, Peter, you might remember this, who has been very eager to know all of the things and do all of the things. And through having this experience with you, it really settled my mind. I could see what it actually looks like and feels like. And I remember you actually saying in that session with me that people often think while they're starting to awaken and start on this journey and understand life for what it is, that we're going to start to see like movies, like that's what clairvoyance is.
Yeah.
And when you understand the universe, you're like, it's seeing, you're so visual, but you said it's more of a felt experience. And that's, and it might, some people might see movies, fantastic, happy days, but not everybody will, and that's okay. We all see and feel and hear and sense things very differently and know things differently, and that's all perfect. We're all designed exactly as we need to be. So the intention for this was really just to honor and to recognize Peter for his work and his assistance along my journey and what he does in this world and how he shares himself with this world. And in addition to that, it's actually morphed into a beautiful, timely reminder of how important gratitude is in these times that can really challenge us in different ways. And as Pete's been a teacher for me, and I'm grateful for him, teachers are not always easy. Sometimes they're hard. And as Peter eloquently put right before we went live, that we didn't come here necessarily for an easy ride. So here we are, we're all in it. We all signed up for this. Here we go, let's go, right? And my intention, as I stated already, is just to inspire you and give you some hope for the future of what this world is moving into and how you can move with the energy of this movement effortlessly and with ease and joy and grace. So I'll say a few words about Pete. We'll go into some questions. We'll probably be around the 45 minute mark. There will be time for some questions at the end as well. We'll have our little closing ceremony, and that will be it. So feel free to write any questions in the comments if you have them. So a bit about Pete. Pete is a fellow Aussie and a teacher, author, and a consciousness researcher. Back in 2000, as a corporate executive, Pete saw the share price of the organization he was in double once the creative energy of the people was harnessed and they were set free. Pete then followed the call to become a hypnotherapist and found himself working and training under spiritual hypnotherapist Dr. Michael Newton in the US, The Journey of Souls, if anyone's familiar with that book. Also a big notch in my awakening journey, reading that book, certainly. Pete's been teaching Life Between Lives work since 2006, and through several evolutions in his love for quantum physics and expanded states of awareness, he has taught the quantum consciousness experience and is now delving into universal consciousness, remembering our magnificence, the title of his latest book, Still in the Making. I'm quoting from your website, Pete. It is time for us to realize that we are so much more than we believe ourselves to be. Pete has dedicated his life to helping people understand the truth of who they really are. We are all far more magnificent than we have been told, and our beautiful planet needs everyone to awaken to this fact. As we do, it will send a ripple into the collective consciousness of humanity like we have never seen before. Today, Pete and I are going to talk about the emerging trends of Life Between Lives work and the many off-world souls incarnating here now, while offering a galactic angle to life on Earth, and also discuss the new paradigm of leadership that is emerging. Now, through my awakening journey, I was introduced to this book, The Journey of Souls, by Michael Newton. And through this, and mentioning this book, a mutual friend of ours, Suzanne, introduced me to Pete and his work that he now carries on and expands through the Michael Newton legacy into this quantum and universal consciousness. Pete and I went on a quantum consciousness journey together in 2 parts, thanks to a bird cutting the power, which was wholly transformative for me. And through Pete's guidance and expertly held container, I was able to journey back to meet previous versions of myself in this lifetime and past. It so happened, not consciously planned, that I was to experience my first acacia ceremony, which is similar to ayahuasca, the following night. And for me, going from the gentle yet profound journeying with Pete into the extreme depths of the grandmother plant, I learned that more and bigger is not always as transformative as we may think. Through Pete, I got to experience being held by a soul brother and carried through time. And through the grandmother, I got to experience my body as if for the first time, and the playful, joyous, and lightest essence. Both impactful and both experienced very differently. Given the chance, I would definitely journey with Pete again over the grandmother. It kind of traumatized me in the moment. Yeah. So Pete, your words and your writing and your presence touches my soul. It triggers a reaction in me so deep, it bypasses all mental logic and reason and plummets me into the depth of my deepest knowing and remembrance of your and our magnificence. I'm so grateful for being reunited of sorts with you this lifetime and for your presence and work in the world. So let's
Thank you,
kick
Nicola,
off.
for those beautiful words.
You're welcome. So let's kick off this question round by looking at emerging trends of Life Between Lives work that is talking about how many off-world souls are incarnating here to help with the shift. And is there another galactic angle you could offer to life on Earth here?
Okay. You know, Nicola, you said something really important, which I'll start with as a foundation to that. When you opened and you talked about having the experience that was beyond the movie, you know, beyond what we hear. And we are sixth sense beings. And we have these 5 physical senses, but it's what we experience beyond those 5 senses that gives us the metaphysical journey that we so richly deserve. And maybe just 20 seconds on Michael Newton's work. for those who haven't read Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, and seen our work at the Michael Newton Institute. Michael Newton took reincarnation to another level once again, and he, if you like, explored the place where we go between our incarnations. And he did this over a long period of time. He started back in the 1960s. He passed away in 2016. We miss him dearly. But he set us up with 7,000 cases of people who went between lifetimes and discovered the nature of their very soul, the sweeping view across incarnations. So when he brought his work to the world, and we trained something like 220 people across 40 countries and 20 languages now, the Newton Institute has really gotten a lot bigger, and his 7,000 original cases have become around 70,000. So we've reproduced his body of work around 10 times over through our networks around the world. But when we first started this work, when I started it 20 years ago and had the incredible honour to work with him for over a decade before he passed, when he discovered this work, no one would believe that it was possible. And we could actually ask a soul what their purpose is for this lifetime, who do they regularly incarnate with, who are the spiritual beings that support them from the other side. Incredible stuff. But it started to change since Michael did the main body of his work back in the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s. What we're finding is to now get to the question about the trends that we're seeing in this work that echo more of the off-world presence that we all hold within. We're seeing, first of all, as a breakdown of structures, and the structure that Michael put into his books about we go to a past life, we cross over, we meet with our guides, our soul group, etc. We go through a journey that he took clients through many thousands of times. We're seeing that people cross over into the afterlife and they have the experience that they're meant to have. The structures that he originally put forward out of that framework seem to have dissolved, and I put that down to the fact that more advanced souls are incarnating here because we need them. You know, people who are here on this planet at this time for this incredible awakening that we're witnessing just by turning on the television and seeing the old systems fall away and new things happening and people's energy moving in different directions than what it ever has before. We're in the middle of an incredible awakening. So what we're seeing is his old structures are breaking down as the first theme. The second theme is that many of the souls that are incarnating here have very strong lineage in other worlds and other dimensions. So we are seeing people who are less comfortable to be here on Earth at these times in human form. These dense physical bodies that we have in the third dimension are really challenging for many, and they're used to a lightness of spirit. They're used to a connection of consciousness, that they're more of a group consciousness than an individual being. We have unique consciousness on this planet, which in my research shows me that is reasonably rare in this universe. A lot of beings incarnating in a group consciousness that has telepathy between the different parts. So, you know, some of us have traces of that still. So we've got the breakdown of structures, we've got the souls from other places in the universe incarnating here, and the third theme is people who would originally come to me all these years ago and they'd say, what's my purpose in this lifetime? But now they're telling me I've come here to be part of something. I've come here to be part of the changes. And there's this big move in people who are doing this deeper work from me to we. You know, we're here to make a difference, and I'm finding the other people that I need to. I thought that I was all alone, but I'm being drawn to people who think like I think now. I know that there are other people with similar backgrounds to me, and I'm finding them more and more. So those are the three trends that we're seeing. But I feel what all this is about us as a planet and as humanity finally finding our place in the universe, because we are this tiny dot in the all there is. But that still makes us not just that tiny dot, but part of something far greater than any of us ever imagined. And if we want to take the galactic angle, as you coined the phrase, we are part of the universe itself. And the more we can start to think about frequency, vibration, energy, the more we're going to find our true resonance and our place in the all there is. It was Nikola Tesla who said 100 years ago, if you want to know about the universe, think about energy, frequency, and vibration. I mean, this is who we are as beings. So it's time for us to find our place for who we really are in the landscape of all that. I'm going to pause so you can actually ask another question.
Yeah, that's there's a lot there. And what do you have any musings, any inclinations towards what our place as humanity looks like in the universe?
Well, I believe that we aren't humanity. If I look at the work that I've done over the years, the Life Between Lives work, the quantum consciousness work, we are currently in an awareness of human form, but we are so much more. In the, probably over the years, I've done about 800 Life Between Lives sessions. And in all of those 800, I've said to people, have you ever had an incarnation on another planet or in another dimension? And I've only had 2 people in all those years say that they hadn't. And I don't think those 2 people were ready to see that they have. And people would shoot off into an experience of, being missed on a planet of vapors, of being a beautiful creature at the bottom of an ocean on a water world. And, we always ask the question, why are we being shown this? And the missed person will be about light and fluidity that you need to bring into your life. For the big creature on the bottom of the ocean on that water world, it's about learn stillness. I think you're being shown this because you could understand stillness to another level and bring it into your life while you're in human form. So, people doing different animal type experiences, but a lot of water worlds, and a lot of people have reported being amphibious type creatures once we get to that particular piece. And of course, in the quantum consciousness experience, as you know firsthand, there's that interdimensional realm where we take somebody out to experience themselves in another form. And the trends that are coming out of that, I'm currently doing a study of about 130 cases of the quantum consciousness experience and working through where people went. And this is from our network of people around the world. Rather than my own cases this time, I'm actually pulling in research from many other people to get that balance and that breadth of experience and facilitation, rather than just do it from one person. And what I'm seeing is trends that people will experience being a light being or as energy somewhere in the universe. They'll, as I mentioned before, they'll be part of a group consciousness, and they'll be part of a life form that is based in a different type of body. Now, every time they've had one of these type experiences, it all relates back to human form. It's like when we do this deeper and beautiful journeys of work, that it's all integratable into human form. So people can understand more of, I'm human, but I'm so much more than human. So what can I learn from those other pieces to then bring into this life that brings incredible change and offers me authenticity at a whole other level than what I've been used to? That, more than anything, is what we crave to be. We talk about, often talk to people about the book of your soul, and that we're in all of these little different chapters. And my response to that is, sure, you're in a chapter, but why be the chapter when you're already the whole book? So what can you bring out of the lineage of your soul across time and space and live here as the soul that you are, rather than the human you came to be? By all means, you need the vehicle to get around, and it's a beautiful vehicle, one you chose out of 8 billion options. So it's certainly the right choice, and there'll be reasons behind that as well. But what is it that you bring from your soul that activates that human vehicle at levels never before experienced?
Yeah, isn't it funny how we all rally against our bodies for so long? Amazing. Just all part of the experience. And is it fair to say, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that there was a time in my life, and my own journey has been fascinating as well, and challenging, and all of those things that come when you, as you know, when you commit to a spiritual path of awakening. It's like you're a cork bubbling on the water going downstream, and sometimes you go through the rapids and sometimes you're in the stillness.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of this body is that it's specifically designed for this. And I used to think that the body was a prison for my soul. But now I see it as a doorway to my magnificence. It's what I do beyond the body that really counts. And you just, the body is the doorway that you open and experience everything through that body, bring it back in ways that complement the five senses but extend them. And you come back forever changed because you realize you're no longer the doorway. You're what is behind the doorway, pretending to be the doorway.
I love it. It's just amazing how everything's just right there. It's just like right there.
Absolutely.
Need to tap into it. So I like, and I find it so interesting what you said around how it around humanity, and it feels like humanity, as Franco De Nicola talks about, who I'll be having on this series as well, is this earth school and this playground, and we're so much more than being human, but it's the human experience where we fast track our learning and all of the things. So it's a piece of the evolutionary puzzle as being a human being.
Yeah.
The galactic
Absolutely.
evolutionary puzzle.
That's it.
Love it. And you had mentioned so going back to these off-planet souls, or off-world souls rather, incarnating here, and how that can feel really challenging because of the density here, and they're used to such lightness. And through the work that I do, I meet a lot of people that are still grappling with that and trying to come to terms with how to find some more peaceful state of being. Is there something that you might offer as a gift for these people?
The resonance of home is within you. Even when you're a long way from home, you still remember home. One thing that we've started to do with universal consciousness is we have taken somebody into that expanded state and we've tuned them into the resonance of home. And then we move them into it and they go home. And they'll be transported instantaneously to where they truly belong or where they feel most at home, whatever that may be. Whether it's another dimension, whether it's another physical type planet, whether it's, some sort of metaphoric environment that needs to be translated into human experience so they can understand it. But once you know where you're really from, then you realize you're simply here on holiday, but you always have a home. It brings it into your conscious awareness and into your knowing, and then you can live the rest of your life with a foot in each camp. And we'll often, if we do these sessions, we'll say to people, how do you keep in touch with the resources back home? Well, now I know that they're always with me, they'll say. I know that I can tune into them anytime that I want to, they'll say. Okay, how are you going to do that? And we'll ask some of those practical integrating questions that allow them to feel a relief of, I knew I wasn't from here. And now I've been validated. And now I know where I'm really from. And now I know how I can connect to home anytime I want to. And it absolutely changes that person's experience of being in human form. Because the other question we'll throw in there is, why'd you come? Well, I volunteered. They'll say. I wanted to be part of the change here. I bring something unique and special into the collective consciousness of humanity. I bring something here that nobody else has. And I wanted to share it. And I wanted to have meaning and purpose. So that's what they walk away with. And it's, Michael Newton originally called these people hybrid souls, but we coined them traveller souls because we think that's a really good modern definition of who they really are, that they've come a long way to be here. And one thing I often say to those people, Nicola, as well, is thank you. Thank you for coming so far to help us. We need you. And you answered the call. Thank you for coming, and let's make it more comfortable for you here now.
Wow. That's really beautiful. And Yeah, I remember I had an experience of remembering home, and I basically didn't stop crying for about a half a day. And that's not normal for me. I'm a Cancer moon, but I'm not usually quite that teary. But now I really enjoy these other pictures that you're painting around being a mist or a wisp, which was my experience, you know, or something on the in the bottom of an ocean somewhere. But where does these other galactic um, races, if you will, like Arcturian, Palladian, how does that fit into all of this? Or where?
Well, I think that, yeah, that's a great question. What I've found over the years, and I'm by no means the only comprehensive researcher in this area, what I've found is that there is both the loving support that surrounds us, and there's the boots on the ground. The loving support that surrounds us, if I've had clients describe that there are spaceships all around the earth, and they're egging us on to awaken, and they're sending loving resonance whenever they can. And they are contacting different people in humanity, whether it be channeled work or some sort of telepathic connection that the person might be used to. So the whole universe is looking at Earth at the moment, from what I'm told by my clients, because there's so much happening here. And of course, we don't work in isolation. Everything is connected. This planet has not enough light and too many shadows. We know that. That's why we came here, so we could fix that. And we're in the process of doing that. So there's this incredible loving support from all of these races, because our success is their success as well. We all share in the oneness of the universe. When it comes to the boots on the ground, we've got people who've got a lot of experience in those types of civilizations, Pleiadian, Arcturian, all of those ones that we hear so much about, and plenty that we don't, by the way. And they've incarnated into human form, but they still bring their soul lineage with them. So that's like they're on the inside while the others are around the outside sending loving support. Now, because group consciousness is a characteristic, and telepathy and all of that are aspects of these civilizations, the people here on the ground can get the support that they need from the collective that's around, but they have to know who they are first. And they have to get to a level of their own awakening where they're ready to explore, so that what is in their unconscious state of being comes into the conscious, so then they can draw on those resources more fully. And this is how this part of the universe is unfolding. It's time for us to stop to think of ourselves as earthlings and see ourselves as citizens of the universe.
Yes, I agree. That's a magnificent shift.
Yeah, it's a complete
down here.
Goes against everything we've ever been told. Again, goes against societal beliefs, cultural beliefs, familial conditioning. This is a reinvention of the mindsets that underpin humanity when we start to think like this. More and more people are becoming open to it. You know, conversations like this one that you're hosting are great in helping ripple that out to a broader community, so that we can start to think this way. Because this is how we're going to take our place in the universe, by realizing we're part of the universe.
Yeah, and 100%. And I'll add to that on a slightly smaller level. That's how we'll take the place within ourselves here on Earth, by realizing that we're all, and this, excuse my French, but this is how it's come through. We're not all just pieces of shit, just, you know, working and bringing in money and fighting with people, and like that's sort of the more base level, right? And then it's like, okay, well, maybe I am here to contribute things, and then you just keep expanding out. Maybe I can help this person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a journey.
It is.
Yes. So, okay, where do I want to go next with this? All right. So let's go into the new leadership paradigm here. So everything's up for review right now as we shift into this new Earth and the old systems of leadership. which are not escaping this shift, are also coming up for review. So how do you see the new paradigm of leadership emerging, and what words of light and love can you offer to give people some hope now?
First of all, let me be really blunt and say what's wrong with leadership today. The majority of corporate leadership is based on dollars, profit, bottom line, materialism. That's corporate leadership. Political leadership is based on division, because you have competing parties. You have a government and an opposition. I mean, how is that about oneness? Okay, so the political model is not serving us. Religions, whereas all of them have love and peace, compassion, stories of the afterlife type thing at their core, what we see is a lot of that is about doctrine and about how you need a mediator between you and spirit, which becomes some sort of a minister or a priest or a rabbi, whatever they may be. And we can't have our direct relationship with the divine. We have to have somebody to guide us when we're already an expression of the divine. So when religion gets back to its core, it's okay. The medical model is about profit, and it's not about wellness, it's about sickness. So I won't go any further than that one. Anyway, what I see is there are 4 things that we need in leadership that will be part of a new paradigm, I feel. And I'm having conversations with people about leadership paradigms. The first is visionary leadership. How do we change the world, or how do we go somewhere where we haven't been before? Because what we've got at the moment isn't working. So we need visionary leadership that opens up new areas of thought, challenges the conditioning of society, challenges all of the things that have happened for us in our lives. It's about truth, and it's about the resonance of what brings the people together and not apart. So we need visionary leadership that's going to fundamentally give us a different paradigm. The second piece is about authenticity of soul. We have this incredible soul within us. How would it be if you could bring the wisdom of many lifetimes into your leadership of today? What about all the other lifetimes that have been wrong could be righted in this one as we move into lead ways that we've never tried before in other lifetimes, and we broke new ground, learning the lessons of those other times and places as well. But to express fully our purpose for being here in this body as this chapter in the lineage of our soul, but leading from the lineage of our soul. The third one's really simple. It's service to humanity, and anything that we do on this planet that does not serve humanity and its people just should not be done. Okay, if we do something that hurts people, it shouldn't be done. If we destroy rainforests, it shouldn't be done, because it's not in the interest of the planet and its people. We need to find other ways to do that, and there are different solutions, whether it's hemp products, the use of bamboo, whether it's free energy. Everything that we're doing to the planet has an alternative: solar power. You know, you got this great big solar panel 93 million miles away. I mean, it could power this planet 100 times over, and the technology's already there. So we need to do more of that. And the fourth thing, so you've got visionary leadership, you've got authenticity of soul, you've got service to humanity. The fourth one is integrity in everything. Absolute, total, and complete integrity in everything that matches the other 3. So there is no agendas. There's no politics. There's nothing other than all of us working together for the common good for everybody. That's it. That's integrity. Integrity isn't what you do when somebody's not looking, as I've heard integrity coined before. But integrity is about doing the right thing all the time, like there is no other option. So if we can start to bring those 4 things into a new leadership paradigm, we're going to change the world. At the end of the day, it echoes consciousness, and it echoes oneness, and it echoes service to humanity and this beautiful planet that is our home. And that's how we need to start looking at it.
Beautiful. And for light workers, if you will, starting to realize that they want to do some work in service of humanity, whether that's some sort of healing modality or
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. Is there something that you can offer them to assist in this journey? Because it's not easy to step out initially, even though I feel things are lightening up and shifting a lot in terms of us coming more into ourselves and experiencing that authenticity of soul. That's something we're all being asked to move into, I think, a lot more. And there's great support there. But is there something that you would, a gift that you can give these people that want to contribute in that way?
I've been really lucky in my life, Nicola, that I've been able to work with some amazing people like Michael Newton and run his organisation globally for 10 years. Teach that work. Institute for Quantum Consciousness, we're doing all the stuff. I've had a couple of different hypnotherapy schools on the way through. But for me, it all started over 20 years ago with a Reiki course. Mm-hmm. You know, my advice to anybody that wants to start a healing career is start. And you think, do I do this course? Do I do that course? What do I do? Well, you just pick up the book that inspires you. You go and do a 2-day course. You go and have a session for yourself about a particular modality before deciding if that's the one you want to study. And from seeds, incredible things grow. Look at the oak tree that comes from an acorn. Something this big becomes something that, fills a landscape. And know that as you tune into your soul, and your soul will lead you in the right direction, to the right book, to the right person, whatever it might be. I did Reiki, the different levels of Reiki, with 3 separate Reiki masters, and I got something different from each of them. So, and that kicked me off into a world of energy, and then I just went further after that. And that's, it's probably 25 years ago that all that's happened. But I remember being incredibly inspired by that first weekend workshop that I did. And, oh, wow, this has opened things for me that weren't there before. So it's have the courage to pursue things. That's the really simple message I'd send to anybody who wants to start. I think the days of having to learn something over a long period of time, over many years, are gone now. I think we need to get the light workers out there quicker. And if I could send one little message more to the light workers, is don't be light workers anymore. Be light leaders. And it's time for us to lead the light. We're already light workers. We're already made of light. That's who we are. Yeah. But it's time to lead it as well, to have the conversation, to touch the hearts and minds of people. And I had continued to have my personal sessions, and I had a session just last week where we're trialing some of the new universal consciousness work. And I'll have to experience it as a client. And what I got in that session was that if you have a conversation with somebody with the full and complete intention about wanting to raise their vibration or activate them at a DNA level or whatever it might be, just by having that conversation with that intention and looking them in the eye, that'll happen. This is how we spread the light. This is how energy works. This is how consciousness works. When we unite consciousness under an intention, we raise the vibration of the person that we're with. So, and you don't have to learn courses to do that. You just got to be who you are.
Yeah. And be aware of that it is like this osmosis, this energetic osmosis, where we can influence people through our energy by saying really nothing at all. I remember you telling me something about with your hypnotherapy school in our session, with the intention of opening up your heart and your soul and allowing people to feel all of the wisdom and the knowledge that you carry within you about a certain thing, and they absorb that energetically.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can carry that forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
So, there are people in jobs right now that are feeling quite challenging for them, like teachers and healthcare workers and other government workers, where there's a little more pressure with different mandates, etc. And there can be a strong urge for these people to like exit straight, stage left, like yesterday. But I can't help but think that these people are probably needed exactly where they are at this moment in time. And I was wondering what your perspective was on this.
I love those people. I think the world needs more free thinkers. And I have a sister who's a nurse. And if I look at her industry and I look at the number of people who have courageously carried the burden of a phenomenon, and I'm not going to try and name it what it is, but it's an energetic phenomenon that's the world, and its response to it is that one big wave of thing that we're dealing with, which is part of the awakening, by the way. I think these people will be tomorrow's heroes. And if I could say anything to those people, I would say what many are now saying is hold the line as best you can. It's tough, it's difficult, but you are the future of humanity simply by being who you are. And thank you for being courageous souls. And I feel better days are coming. And I think they're closer than what we realise.
Thank you. Full body goosebumps from that one, Pete. Hold the line. Hold the line. I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about off-world leadership and how we can bring that in, and this whole concept. Yeah. This is something you mentioned right before we went live today. And I think when we can tap into this and what that, our felt experience of this from past lifetimes and other later civilizations or times of being, that we can bring that wisdom forth to Earth now and continue to evolve it, as you said before. So off-world leadership, yeah.
Everything we know about benevolent races that serve humanity from off-world, whether it be Arcturian, Pleiadian, Andromedan, all of these ones that we hear about and we see channelings from, all of that. All of these races have something in mind. These civilizations, they have a very gentle aspect of leadership. They don't invade other planets. They respect the laws of the universe, that everybody has free will. Everyone must awaken when they're ready, and that they will observe until we get to a level of maturity before they join us. That is incredibly empowering. And the compassion and the love these benevolent races have for us to surround the earth with support, to, have people with that type of soul lineage incarnate as the boots on the ground. There's a lot of love in that. So leadership in its purest form has to be about love. If these civilizations will travel across galaxies to love and support us here and to be part of that, then what greater example is that than how we can evolve to take our place in the galactic world, to be more cosmic in our consciousness. We've got to get back to love. At the end of the day, leadership needs to be about love. People will say, who've had various experiences in jobs over the years, I loved my boss. And you think about it and you say, well, why did you love your boss? They were kind. They inspired me. And they looked after me. And, I suppose we've all had a boss like that over the years. No one's ever perfect, but leadership at the end of the day needs to be about love, needs to be about service. If we want to become one of these benevolent races ourselves, then that's the type of leadership that we need to embrace. Let's move, there in a leadership level that's sort of higher up than us. If we want to go up to meet them, it's love that's going to boost us the rest of that way so that we can take our place in the galactic civilizations that we should be. We will join. We just have to be ready. But we're not going to be able to join under the current paradigm. We need to do things very differently here on this planet. And we need to see the catalyst of what's been happening now as a great awakening. We did some research out of the Newton Institute. It was published in Nexus magazine, the one before the current issue. And we did 25 journeys into LBL land by 25 of our own people at the Newton Institute, both giving and receiving a session, to find out what was the real issue behind this whole global phenomenon that we're dealing with at the moment. And what we got back across that whole group in that whole research project was this is a choice between fear and love. And it's a choice that we make at the individual level, and we make a choice at the collective level. And what this virus type thing has done is it is everything's on the table. And one story that came through in an analogy from one of our people, it's like an arm has come and swept the table clear, and now we have to decide what we put back on the table. So it's over to us. How much do we want? How much do we want a new world? How much do we want something new? And how willing are we to stand up and claim that, which is our right under the laws of the universe? Free will. Nothing can enter your energy field without your say. That's universal law. The whole universe is expanding, and it wants to evolve just because that's how consciousness is. And free will is the right of every being on this planet and in the universe itself. But people will try to take that away from you unless you claim it. As it's not this has nothing to do with liberty. This has to do with your rights as a sentient being. That's how important it is. It trumps human form. No, no pun intended. But it goes beyond human form. Goes beyond human form into something that's far greater, and that's our existence as a sentient consciousness, as part of a collective, that we have the right to choose our free will. We choose these bodies, we choose this planet, we chose to come here from far away, and we make choices in our life, and that's just the way life works, and that's our right.
Beautifully put. Thank you, Peter. Really beautiful. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
I believe everybody has the right to know their magnificence firsthand. And that might be one of the courses we mentioned, that might be a session with people like us, that might be something else that you haven't thought of. It might be a moment of insight when you read that book that you are meant to read that triggers the activation of your own soul. But everybody should know their magnificence, should know that they are so much more than what they've been told. Get rid of this conditioning that we've been given through our society and our education systems, and stop living small, because you are divine beyond your knowing. And when you know it and you discover it, then there's no looking back. So I would say to everybody who's listening, just be that, because that's who you truly are. And when you're in your total authenticity, it's an incredibly powerful place to be. Nothing can touch you when you're in the divinity of your soul. And everything else just becomes noise in the world around you. But you came here for the noise. But it's a lot easier to deal with when you know it's just noise. See it for what it is. It's not.
Yeah, that's all a distraction. This is the real thing. Don't worry about the rest of it. Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's who we are.
So lovely. So you've got a couple gifts that are on the speaker page that I'll just touch on quickly, and then we'll go into our closing ceremony. And so the gifts that you have provided links for is the Transcendence Adventure, which is a 9-part journey program taking people into their remembered magnificence. And also 2028, Here Comes the Light program, which is exploring the new parts of society when we have created a new world. Is there anything you'd like to expand on?
Yeah, the Transcendence Adventure is very powerful because it uses artwork like the one behind me that have been filmed in rainforest. So it's absorbed all of the beautiful vibrations of both the natural world of consciousness artwork, and there's some beautiful words that go with it. They're only short, 10 minutes each. You work your way through the different journeys. And we've had incredible results with that. People who are expanding, their consciousness, moving into a new vibration from doing those journeys. The 2028 work, Here Comes the Light, is about having conversations with people about the new world like it already exists and what we bring into our intention for creation, we bring into being. So we're talking about a number of different scenarios in the new world, a new leadership system, new medical systems, new scientific stuff called meta-science, world restoration projects, about how we've sponsored those all around the world, and how we've made a difference in so many different countries. So yeah, feel free to explore those. We'd love people to use them and share them as much as they would like to.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, that'll be at, it'll be linked in the comments here, but nicolahenderson.co/gratitude series. And you can also see how to find Pete through his website and everything there if you want to look him up. And quickly before my closing ceremony, shout out to my mom, who I know would be probably hooting and hollering at your mention around, the sun being this giant solar panel. She's mad about all that stuff. So I know that you'll get mothers to give approval there, Pete. Good.
I was going for that. Yeah.
There you go. So in closing, deepest gratitude to you, Pete. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today and sharing your light with the world. It is an honor to be shoulder to shoulder and heart to heart with you now, bringing and ringing in the new earth. I celebrate you, I celebrate humanity, and I celebrate life. Here's to life. Sakai anama'a kai anama'i saiki aisha nama'a. Ki ai I ayasa kai inama'a salai amanakai anama'a. You're a radiant light, and thank you for your magnificence, and thank you for everyone tuning in today. Love to hear your thoughts, what you got out of this conversation. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, or night.
Thanks, Nicola.